Good morning, Niagara. You're tuned into Car Connection, where the coffee's hot, the tools are ready, and the talk is always tuned up. I'm your host, Niall Motormouth Jenkins, coming to you straight from the Car Connection workshop, where we mix a little humor, a little know-how, and a whole lot of horsepower. Here, it's not just about fixing cars. It's about keeping you rolling, saving you money, giving you the confidence to understand what's under that hood. From the classics to the commuters, the weird noises, to the what the heck moments, we've got you covered. So grab your coffee, sit back, join the crew, because this is Car Connection, your Monday through Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Motormouth pit stop for stories, smarts, a few good laughs. I'm Niall Motormouth Jenkins, and we are shifting into drive this morning. Well, good Thursday morning to you. We're just on the cusp of another weekend. We'll have the daily weather coming up and our morning swiggy. So if you're just scooting through the drive-through, double check your order, lock it down, keep an eye on the road. One eye on the road, one eye on your beverage to make sure it doesn't leave the cup holder and end up on the passenger side floor. Just saying. It's just in a, never mind. Anyhow, that does happen. It does. If you have a co-pilot this morning, hand them the 16-pack of Crayola crayons and a nicely ironed leaf bag to take some notes this morning. If you miss getting the information, all of it, all the podcasts are now uploaded to our YouTube channel every single day. So everything we talk about lives at our website. It is the biggest drawer in our toolbox. So that's carconnectionbusinessnetwork.com. We're revamping our business network after 20 plus years, bringing more businesses into the fold so that you have referral businesses. Perhaps, maybe not in your exact area, but we'll do the best we can to find some businesses that I vet myself to make sure that they're doing the right thing. And there's, you know what, even though it's kind of tough out there in different professions, there still are people in their profession that really enjoy what they do, how they do it, and providing some amazing products, goods, and services. So if that sounds like you need to get in touch with us so we can find out who you are, where you are, and what you do. And you can email me directly at motormouth.jenkins@gmail.com or Nile, N-I-L-E, no S, okay? Not like Niles Crane. No S, N-I-L-E at ccbusnet.com. And I always put that information, every time I remember, I make sure it's in the description box of our YouTube videos, which 3 videos go up each and every week, be another video dropping tomorrow. Late afternoon, we've got some really good series coming in, different things going on, and you get to see the bird's eye view of what it is, where it is, how it works, how it breaks, and how could you have learned some basic vehicle ownership fundamentals that will save you not hundreds of dollars a year, thousands of dollars a year in needless repairs. So quite often we see $200 repair that's been neglected ends up costing $5,000, and that happens a lot. So let's jump into this morning. If you're joining us for the very first time, welcome aboard. You'll probably not be the same, but it's okay. It's all right to be Abby normal. It sure is. How long would you keep your car if you had a proper maintenance schedule to follow? Well, we're going to crack it open a little bit this morning. The title of today's program is, What Does a Vehicle Evaluation Look Like? What is that? Like, exactly. So we're going to break that down for you and into bite-sized chunks so you get a really good bird's eye view of what's going on with that. It is very simple, actually, but if you've never seen it before, it probably sounds foreign. What does a vehicle evaluation look like? Well, I can tell you after yesterday's road trip, I can tell you what watching driving habits evaluation looks like. I'm still shaking my head. I honestly can't. I just can't. I cannot wrap my head around how many people out there are driving like idiots. Like, there should be 100-car pileups every day. How that doesn't happen, I don't know. I don't have the answer. I watch this bobbing in out of traffic, and someone just can get the nose of the car into a hole, and they don't signal. They just bloop, push their way in at high speeds. And I just sit back, you know what? And I just kind of, it's almost like watching a video game. It's like, wow, like where do you have to be that you're taking that big a risk? Hey, it's one thing you're taking a risk with your life and your occupants in your vehicle, but what about me? Yeah, they don't think about that. The driving habits out there are lousy. They're absolutely lousy. This is, you wouldn't even qualify, many of you, to even drive on an oval in NASCAR. You'd be wrecked in a half a lap if you make it that far. It's not a highway. It's some kind of road course. And I watched a vehicle yesterday. I'll just share this with you quickly. 3 lanes. Or was it 4 lanes? It might have been 4 lanes. The guy scoots past me. He's doing at least 140. At least. Maybe even a tad more. Traffic is moving at a minimal pace. Everyone is chock-a-block. Bumper to bumper, but we're moving. And I'm not bumper to bumper. I leave 2.5 car lengths, and I don't care if somebody slides in front of me, and I don't care if somebody honks the horn behind me. I want safety space. So should one of these idiots that passed me goes right down the center of the road and then jams himself in at high speed, and I'm waiting for parts to go flying, because this guy's moving in between traffic. And I'm thinking, one person makes either a slight jog to the right or to the left. What is that going to look like? Thus and so why I stay back 2.5 car lengths. I want lots of room for me to have to make an evasive maneuver as not to get caught up in your stupidity. I hope you're not driving like that. Honest to goodness. And not only that, the safety factor, but man, you have to buy a vehicle every 5 years. So you folks are in the car game not understanding the rules. Because if you changed some things in your life, you'll change some things in your life. If you have to drive like that to get somewhere, you got problems. It's not the car. You got real life problems. And there's no way and no hope in hell of your vehicle lasting beyond 3 to 5 years. No stinking way. Driving it like that, there will be nothing left of it by the time you make the last payment. So you folks that drive like that, you deserve everything you're getting, but just don't hurt anybody. You're going to be working a long time and making car payments, folks. Wow. I don't know how you do it every day. I used to like driving, and now that ain't driving. That is stunt driving. All day, every day. I don't know how you do it. Honest to goodness, my hat goes off to all of you. I feel for you. If you're one of those conscientious drivers out there in that rat race, I really feel for you, and I wanted to share that this morning. It's unreal. It absolutely is unreal. And those folks, they're going to be making car payments and working their heinies off to do so until they retire. If they make it that far, because in amongst tractor trailers, yeah, they can't stop on a dime and give you change. They have about 2, just so you know, trucks. I worked for Mack Trucks of Canada in Peterborough of Ontario. They have about 2 really good brake applications, and after that, not so good. So if you're in the way, you're going to get scrunched and flattened out like some Reynolds aluminum foil. And there's going to be plastic and pieces and parts flying everywhere. There'll be nothing left. And there might not even be much left of yourself either. Trucks cannot maneuver like cars. They do not stop like cars. They need quite a large distance to get that rig stopped. Just so you know. And if the trailer jackknifes, you might as well put your head between your knees and kiss your butt goodbye because you're done. That trailer's going to come around and just scoop you up and scrunch you up like something going into the recycle bin. The blue box. Precisely. All right, let's jump in this morning. Let's have our morning swiggy. We thank Niagara Block at 5000 Montrose Road, Niagara Falls. Building Canada since 1931 with amazing building supplies. They make every block, from designer blocks to just your plain old cinder block. They create all of that on site. They have angle iron and rebar and steel bracing and all that kind of stuff, so you can get those supplies there. So if you have a building project, get Niagara Block on it right away. Hardscape landscaping, you want to create that outdoor space, that amazing outdoor living space you've always been thinking about. Niagara Block. Connect with Kathy Greenwell at the front office. If you're looking for a contractor to do the work, they have a referral list of contractors that will estimate, start the job, finish the job, and you can enjoy that beautiful project that you've always wanted to have created. So check that out. You will certainly find products to make that outdoor space absolutely outstanding. So thank you to the Greenwell family, to Kathy and Dan and Dave for doing such a great job building Canada since 1931. So grab your favorite morning beverage, whatever that is. That's your deal. I've got my deal. We count it down on 3, 2, 1 and have a swiggy together. You ready? This beautiful Thursday morning. Let's find out what the weather's going to be in just a moment. 3, 2, 1. It is much better when it's hot. That was really hot. Not used to that. All right. Let's move on this morning. And thank you to City Auto Sales and Leasing for bringing us the morning weather, the daily weather today. Yesterday, woo, that was a capital day. Yeah, I had the sunroof open. And I was on the Autopond, apparently. That's what I was thinking. Egads. I can't get over that. My heart goes out to all of you that do that commute every day. You guys are crushing it. Be careful out there. That's all I can tell you. Be very, very cautious and careful. It only takes a second for life to completely change. It really does. And seeing that is just... I used to commute 90 minutes one way. So I've spent my time on the road. And I never saw driving like that. So anyways, here's what we got. If you're looking for an automobile, someone you know, some of your peeps, your circle of friends, sojourners, whatever, you can send them over to Earl and Louise Grant at City Auto Sales and Leasing, where they can buy with confidence, be treated with nothing less than honesty and integrity. Low mileage, quality vehicles at fair prices. Greater Toronto Area's premier pre-owned auto store. Earl and Louise Grant, her husband-wife team, they're car guys. And let me tell you, Earl knows how to pick them, and they have the resources to find amazing quality vehicles. So if they don't have what you're looking for on their website, they have a pretty decent inside inventory and outdoor inventory. But if they don't have the specific vehicle you're looking for, let them know. They won't just grab something that's not good enough and bring it in for you. If it's not good enough, it's not going to be at City Auto Sales and Leasing because they don't sell any junk there. So say hello to Earl and Louise Grant. They have in-house leasing and financing available to you. Great place where you can just feel comfortable and make that vehicle purchase and know that you're getting yourself a great deal. 38 degrees right now and partly cloudy. It feels warmer, about 39. Sunny conditions coming. Yes, yippee! 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. with mostly cloudy conditions expected around dinner hour, around 6 p.m. Well, your dinner hour could be 8 o'clock too. I don't know. So 6 p.m. Today's temperature range going to be from 38 to 66 degrees Fahrenheit, and it will feel more like 39 to 67 degrees. Precipitation today is, I'm proud to say, 0. Yes, that's very good, as it's time to cut the grass. So today's high temperature will be 66, and yesterday we cracked open a 62, so we are getting close now to things kind of simmering down, leveling out, so that we can stay at 60 to 65, and then we can roll out the 30-day fuel savings challenge. You know, I had to fuel up after my trip yesterday, my road trip. It was $75 later, and I'm looking at the pricing. I'm going, like, where's, hey, fella, where's the big price drop here, fella? I didn't see it. Did you see it? Let me know in my email. Did I miss something? Was it just a daily quick special, like, you know, a flashing blue light gas special at the pumps? I don't know. I didn't see any. I wasn't excited. Yeah, it was like $1.90. Call it $1.91. I use premium. I don't use any of the cheaper stuff because it's no good. And we'll talk about that. I think I did spend some time on fuel. You have to understand fuel, and you have to understand blends. But the biggest thing you have to understand is BTUs. Yeah, British thermal units. We'll talk about that in another program, because once you understand BTUs, then you'll understand that I get better gas mileage than you do. Yep, I do, because it's a chemical composition deal. And when you understand that, you'll go, oh, I can save money doing that. Cha-ching. Yep, yes, you can. But you have to understand the 3 letters, BTU. Well, let's jump in to our morning topics, I should say, because I want to get through as much as I can. I don't want to confuse you. I don't want you dazed and confused out there on the roadway. That can happen. I really believe that. So we talk about different seasons when it comes to automobiles. And we kind of have to lighten up a little bit, you know? Owning and operating an older automobile is not a big deal. It's not a big deal, folks. I don't know what it is. Either the planet's vibrating or the handbrake is slightly on. We're wound up tighter than a coil spring. We were just talking about that yesterday. There seems to be a ton of anxiety. And the automobile is definitely taking the brunt of it when you see how people are driving. I think there's anxiety behind the wheel. That's what I think. I think that's bringing a lot of that on, but my goodness. When it comes to owning and operating an older automobile and wanting to squeeze every possible mile out of it, it's very doable. But you have to have a strategy. You do. You have to have a plan. You know, as people, it's not that we plan to fail. It's that we always seem to fail to plan. If you don't have a plan, then how are you going to get to your destination? It's like having before we had GPS, which sometimes I just want to throw my stinking unit right out the window. Yeah. the GPS thing sometimes acts up. Is it just me? It's like, can you just find the stinking address? Yeah, I don't want to continue on to the interwebs. Just get the map up. Let's get going. Yeah. Anyhow, I'm not going to digress on that, but that's why they make hammers and more phones. So we have to kind of unload the anxiety. It's not a big deal. If you got an older vehicle and it's paid for, you're already ahead of the other guy. Way ahead. Making car payments and trading time for money is crazy. You know, being home with family is where you really need to be as much as possible. But sometimes it doesn't work out that way. I was on the road a lot for many, many years. Many years. I put 16,000 kilometers on a vehicle in 6 weeks, if that. No problem. Just give me your car. I can put 16K on that in 4 weeks. Very easily. But that doesn't matter. If you have a game plan to really seriously look at your vehicle as a tool, a piece of equipment, once you have that mindset locked in, it doesn't matter what color it is, it doesn't matter what model it is, and it doesn't matter how old it is, and it does not matter how many miles are on it, or kilometers, whichever one you're working with. It doesn't matter. It's like my mentor used to always say, if we didn't know when we were born, how would we know how old we are? And you think about that and you go, that's a kind of a quirky thing to say. Well, if you didn't have an odometer that was working, how would you know how many miles or kilometers are on your car? Would it bother you? It wouldn't bother me a bit because I just keep up the same maintenance. Right? I would just go by time. Month. How many? Oh, this has to be done in so many months. This has to be done in so many weeks. And just keep it up. Just keep going. Keep moving in the right direction. That's what you got to do. You got to move in the right direction. But the mindset has to be there first. That you're not listening to the outside white noise. Well, you know, that thing's getting kind of old. You really ought to be thinking about getting rid of it. You know, you don't want to be throwing money at an old car. Oh, so I should throw money at a newer car because, or does the newer car not need anything ever? Because that's not true. We've already talked about that many times. That is a lie from the pit of hell and smells like smoke. It's not true. There is absolutely nothing on the face of this planet that doesn't need some kind of maintenance. And automobiles, they're tools. It's a piece of equipment. And it doesn't matter how old it is. Do you know, like, when you climb on an aircraft to go somewhere, do you ask the captain, well, how many miles it got on it? How old is it? You might poop your pants to find out how old that aircraft is. It's not a couple of years old, folks. They like, don't just tear them down and put them in a U-Pullet yard. When they get to that point, yeah, that's what happens. They go to the aircraft pile of junk. And I've walked one of those. It's very interesting, actually. As I went into a airplane wrecking yard, and you can buy stuff. And this particular fellow is in the movie industry, buying stuff and making custom furniture out of pieces of aircraft parts. And it took me to a hangar where he had some of this stuff he's working on, and it was crazy good. Yeah. Imagine sitting at a table that is actually the front of one of those engines that hangs on the plane. A circular banquette. All polished. It was outstanding. And with neon lights on it and everything. It was like crazy good. But anyways, I digress. But I'm saying, if you take a look at aircraft that people are buying and selling all the time, they're flying stuff from the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and into the 80s. You don't see anything 2026. These airplanes are getting refurbished and sold, refurbished and sold, refurbished and sold. And the engines, whatever it has to have, they do it in order for it to pass the airplane inspection certificate. So our automobiles are exactly the same. It doesn't matter how old it is. What matters is your game plan. What's your game plan? So let's jump right into the evaluation. I got with me a copy of the Car Connection Fleet Maintenance System with me so that I don't miss anything. And this gives you a game plan. You don't need to develop it. You don't need to redo it. It's all done for you. So that all you have to do is follow it along. So when I go down the list and I get to pretty much the bottom of the page, we even cover interior shampoo and detailing once a year. Keep the vehicle up. Because at the end of the day, if circumstances change for you and you take care of that older vehicle, I'll tell you right now, if you put it out by the road, you probably have 20 people stopping to make a deal and buy it. Because people are in financial ruin. And you're not the only one in the canoe. Hello. I'm still digging out of COVID. Yeah, that put me thousands in the hole. Let me tell you, it wasn't a good time. But we're still here and rebuilding. But I never thought I'd be doing that at this time in my life. But anyway, I just wanted to see cooling system flush once yearly or maximum 24 months. And our FJ's getting that done as we speak. I'll be putting that together back together this evening. All the pieces, parts are here now. So it will get it's getting its spring evaluation. And there was some stuff going on and stuff ready to go on. So you catch it in and nip it in the bud, and then it doesn't leave you on the side of the road. So every 6 months, I'm going to run down the list of the every 6 months inspection. So you're going to do 2 evaluations a year. And I usually recommend a spring and late fall, like late October. Really don't push it into November if you can afford to do so. But you got to stay on top of it. And when you do that, it's going to save you a ton of money because you're not making payments every month. Okay, multi-point inspection. Here it is. Inspect every 6 months. And you say, well, every 6 months? You know what? It's surprising what goes wrong or is starting to go wrong and you don't know anything about it in 6 months. And that's why the series that's coming out will be coming out on our very own 07 FJ Cruiser that's about 42,000 kilometers away from the 400,000 K-mile club. I don't care what's on the odometer because it gets what it needs and keep it going. It's paid for. It's paid for. Long time ago in Bethlehem, it's paid for. So take care of it and you can just keep going. That's the point. So it was all inspected. I did an evaluation back in October, and here we are now in, April, middle of April, which is a perfect time because the 15th of April is the cutoff time for snow tires, so winter tires. So you get your 5% discount on your insurance, right? Are you getting that? Well, you might want to talk to somebody. Yeah. They might, if your agent might not be telling you that they can give you a discount for running winter tires. So 15th of April, they have to be off. So that's the perfect time to get vehicles into the shop and check them over and evaluate. So with the 07 FJ, we've found a number of things that started with the alternator wanting to snap off. It was almost there, folks. And what was my clue was the chirping sound, more like a squeak. And I was away from home, not too far. I was just in town here. And I'm like, I know that noise. I've heard that before. And I got to get this thing home, because the last time that happened, I pulled up to a napper store that was here in town, in a little town called Ridgeway, and they don't have the store there anymore. I pulled up, I went in to grab some parts I'd ordered, came out, and the alternator locked up. And the belt is squealing and smoking. So good thing I had my toolbox. I had my little hammer in there, and I gave that alternator a real good whacking, and it freed off. Got me home anyway. So this time, the noise was pretty much the same. It was saying, I'm getting ready to do a nasty. Well, this time, the alternator broke, and I didn't know that. So there's two mounting points for the alternator on the 07 FJ Cruiser. The bottom mounting bolt, the main mounting bolt bracket, broke right off the alternator. So then the engine and the serpentine belt's trying to pull the alternator into itself. And you'll have to watch that video, how far it bent the bolt. And if I had taken that vehicle out of the driveway one more time, the nasty would have been extremely expensive. So thus and so, the reason to have that inspection every 6 months, because you can catch stuff before it gets to the next level. Like I've said before, $200 repair, ignore it. Just say, la, 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 la. I don't see it. I don't, no, I don't want to know. Don't tell me. That gets you into trouble every single time. That'll cost you a lot of dough. And just imagine if I had not been paying attention in here and not listen to that squeak, 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 that would have been doom and gloom. So it's only been, let's say, October was my evaluation, fall evaluation. October, November, December, January, February, March. And we're halfway into April. And the snowies come off. And there's that much to do. It needs a cooling system flush. I pulled the radiator right out because it's coated with the rust-proofing product, and it's sticky and it's hairy. Got to get that stuff off so the radiator is breathing properly. We want 100% cooling, not just partial. That's not good either. So you'll have to watch that series on the FJ, because that'll show you exactly what happens during an evaluation, what you can find, and it's accepting being in the know instead of wondering what's next, or is everything okay. Every 6 months, having the vehicle checked over. That means tires off. We're checking the brakes. We're taking a look at belts, hoses, and that's where I found, and you'll see in the videos, I found some hoses that are ready to replace. It's time to get them off before I lose all the transmission fluid, which is extra expensive and makes a huge mess, and you could damage the transmission. So it costs like $20 for 5 feet of transmission, proper transmission hose, because you got to make sure you're using the right parts for that, because it's hydraulic oil. You can't use gas line or evap hose. It has to be the right hose. Otherwise, you will end up with problems bigger than you had before. Tire rotation every 10,000 kilometers. So I, for my own customers, when I had our shop on the Hamilton Mountain, in the city of Hamilton, the big smoke, I'd have them down for tire rotation every second oil change. So I monitored that for them. So that's how you get maximum wear life out of your tires. Don't leave them in the same spot. Now, that doesn't apply to shoes. I've tried it. It's uncomfortable. You're turning left and turning right. It doesn't work. You can't go forward, straight forward. So it works for tires, side to side, fronts to the back, backs to the front. and every 10,000 kilometers. That's going to get you maximum wear life out of those tires. So you're not going to waste a single dime. What else have I got here? Belts and hoses, inspect every 4 months because they change. Belts and hoses are good for 2 years, about 2 years. If your vehicle sits a lot, the hoses and the belts, they rot away, just so you know. If you think you're saving your car by not putting a lot of mileage on, no, you're not. You're actually ruining the car. Your vehicle falls in a totally different category. If you do very limited driving, you're thinking that we're kind of hibernating the car and we're saving it. No, you're not. Your car needs a lot more maintenance than my own. Seriously. Because things rot off, wear off, seize up, and that's what happens. Kind of like us. If we don't get in motion, things start falling apart, don't they? Fuel filter, ideally twice a year. If it's not one of those stupid filters in the tank, those are really dumb. No one asked us as service techs, do you think it's a good idea to put the fuel filter in the tank? No, absolutely not. What's wrong with putting them in external so that we can get to them? Because when I first got the FJ in December 27th, 2013, in 1 month, the in-tank fuel filter was plugging off and the fuel pump burned out because of that. And the manufacturers say, oh no, the in-tank fuel filter is good for life. No, it ain't. That's a lie. It plugs up. And the FJ was proof of that. The filter was about 90% plugged up, which was causing extra strain on the fuel pump because it doesn't know it has a pillow over its face and it's trying to breathe. It doesn't know that. There's no monitors for that. So the pump's trying to push fuel through the pillow over its face, and it's working it hard to the point where the positive terminal blew right off. It blew apart. I don't know why it didn't set the tank on fire, but I'm glad it didn't. Anyways, pollen filter. This is the time of year. And this is all written. I'm reading this right off our Car Connection fleet maintenance system. It keeps you on track. Charging system inspection every 6 months. Just let the guys hook it up to the machine, check and verify the alternator is outputting the right amperage and voltage, and that the battery's healthy, that the starter motor's healthy. This way we can prevent those 3 items from leaving you on the side of the road or stranded somewhere. Unless you like that. I don't know, maybe, playing on your phone until the battery goes dead on it, waiting for the tow truck to come. But, I got better things to do. I don't know about you. The list is long. The days are short. Brake inspection every 10K. So every second oil change. And I always had that scheduled for my clients as well at the shop. It would go in the file. So when they, 9 times out of 10 before our clients left, they had a next appointment, just like hair appointments, ladies, right? Before you leave the salon, you do what? Book another seat. Otherwise, you may not get one. So, and you got to go back for a touch-up or whatever, about 5 or 6 weeks, right? So you want to make sure you got your date and time booked. So this time of year, we're heading into the pollen season. My body knows that very well already, that the pollinators are out there. I'm trying not to mow the grass because it's the rule of thumb is no mow May. That the dandelions and the grass flowers are there for the bees, but it's starting to look kind of tatty. We may have to make an adjustment there. So springtime, lots of pollen in the air. You might think, well, shouldn't that filter last like 25 years? No. You'd be surprised how fast that thing gets plugged up. So if your vehicle has a pollen filter, now would be the time for us to enter the cavity, take it out, and see how bad it is. And I'll tell you, it will need replacing, because the cabin air filter is filtering all the air inside the cabin. So everything that's floating around in there, so you don't, like when you waft your clothing, brush your hair, you got pets in there, pet dander, it all gets sucked into that HEPA filter, and that's what it is. So if you have people that have cardiovascular issues, breathing issues, or allergies, you better make sure that pollen filter, HEPA, it has so many names. Let's call it a cabin air filter just for fun. That cabin air filter is an air purifier, so it captures all that stuff. Dander, pet hair, human hair, all the dust bunnies in the car, off your clothing, everything. It's airborne, and it traps it in there, and then it becomes bacteria. It even takes out, that's why they call it a HEPA filter. It takes out bacteria. So if you have someone who has cardiorespiratory issues, having a clean cabin air filter will be very helpful for them in your car, and very helpful for your blower motor as well. Because again, the blower motor doesn't know when it has a pillow over its face. It just keeps pushing air, and it causes the blower motor to burn out prematurely. So would you rather wait for that to happen, or change the cabin filter twice a year? It's not a big deal. It will save, trust me, the cabin air filter and the labor to change it is far less than replacing the blower motor. Yeah. Very easily. If I were betting, man, I would bet on the cabin air filter is far cheaper than the blower motor any time of the day. A fault code review every 6 months when it comes in the shop. I would just throw on the scan tool and just check their computer, make sure that it's clear, that there aren't any fault codes in history, that there wasn't anything that was going on you weren't made aware of, or you weren't paying attention because the music was too loud, or listening to your favorite podcasts like Car Connection Workshop. I don't know. But just a quick check allows me to say and tell the customer, there's no faults found in history. Computer saying everything else, all monitor systems are go. So rust proofing once a year. It's on the list to remind you it needs to be done. We don't do a whole lot of headlight aiming anymore, but it should be done because the roadways are very, very rough. Some of them rougher than a stucco toilet seat. Cooling system flush. Once a year is ideal. Every 24 months. And I don't buy into this long life antifreeze. There's several videos up on our YouTube channel so that you can see me testing and talking about antifreeze and explaining it out for you. I give you a very good detailed explanation why that is nonsense. And it has been since 1992. Yeah, it's not a new package. It's just rebranded. They just recirculate it and bring the same trash back to the shelf. You got to know this stuff. Tune-up inspection. Yes, we still tune up vehicles. We will talk about that in a separate podcast, what that looks like in today's modern day vehicles. Do we still tune them up? Yes. There's certain things we can still do that we should be doing, and there's other things that the computer does it for us. One more. I will give you one more. Okay? Okay. Brake inspection. Did I talk about that already? I have to go back in the podcast. Brake inspection should be done every 10K. So every second oil change, unless you hear something. And this is the big nugget today for you. If you hear something on your vehicle that sounds abnormal, it most likely is abnormal. Ignoring it could take you from a $200 repair to a $5,000 repair. And I use the FJ as the example. Imagine, and I already said it today, Imagine I ignored that little mouse that I could hear under the power barn, under the hood. I just go, it's nothing. In fact, a lady walks by and she saw me. I opened the hood and she goes, "You got problems?" I go, "I got a mouse in here." She goes, "You got a mouse in there?" I said, "Yeah, hear it? Oh, when my husband was alive, he would just put some soap on that. Okay. So her recommendation was, get a bar of soap when I get home and just, put some belt dressing on there with some, Irish Spring or Ivory soap. Yeah. No. The problem was turned out to be much, much bigger than that. So you got to watch the video on that. Holy smokes. I don't think the soap, she was just being nice. So I was, I said, "Thank you. I appreciate that." Well, I will be checking into the little mouse I have a little further. So those are just some of the ideas that is an example of our car connection fleet maintenance system. It's all written down for you. You don't have to think about it. The boxes are here, tells you when and what, and when you get to the bottom, you start again at the top of the next month. So you have January right through December. And your inspections, and all you need to do is follow the description and then the mileage or increment, and it's all written out for you, and use your dry erase marker and put an X or a happy face or whatever your icon's going to be that signifies that service has been done. So we've included services on here for much older vehicles as well, that have other components that the newer vehicles do not have, but those vehicles are still out there. So we decided to include some components that maybe perhaps your vehicle does not have, but that's okay. You can put just a line through that box. It doesn't apply to your vehicle. So there you have it. If you have questions, remember, Q&A Saturday's coming up. We're not that far away. By noon on Fridays. I've changed it, the cutoff time for getting your questions in. Email them to me. I select 3 questions to talk about in detail on Saturdays, so that's a full 1-hour show on Q&A, questions and answers. So get your questions in by noon on Friday. Tomorrow is Fun Friday. You never know what we're going to talk about here in the Car Connection Workshop. So I hope you make it a great day. The sun is going to be shining, hopefully, where you live and you're listening to your podcast. So remember, our podcast can be found on any platform, anywhere, including Podbean. I'm still waiting for somebody to answer me on that one. If you were to use the word Podbean, what kind of car would you attach that name to? I have one in my mind. I'm looking to see if somebody matches. So if you had a car and you needed to name it, and you had to use the name Podbean, what kind of car would that be that would suit that name? Got it? Put that in the comments on our YouTube channel, or send me an email, motormouth.jenkins@gmail.com or niall@ccbusnet.com. Make it a great day. Keep it under 100, and keep your eye on the other guy. And remember, leave a space. This isn't NASCAR. We're not drafting. And you certainly don't want to draft with an 18-wheeler because you may not be home for dinner. And I mean that in a nice way. Back off. Back off. And don't ride beside an 18-wheeler. If you're going to pass the 18-wheeler, get past it and get out of the way. Because if you got a moment, Google what an exploding tire looks like on an 18-wheeler when you got a chance. So you'll find a video and you'll be shocked and awed at how much power one of those tires lets go when you're riding beside it. You will not be on the road. It will take you right off the road instantly. So Play safe. Don't ride on the back of truckers. Don't ride beside them. Get around them. Get out of their way. Okay? It's when you understand the rules of 18-wheelers, you folks like I do, you would not play with them on the highway. Do not play with the big riggers out there. Get around them. Get out of their way. Don't ride on. If they can't see you in the mirror, they don't know you're there, just so you know. Here's the rule. How do you know you're close enough and not too far away? If you can't see the driver in his mirror, his driver's side mirror, he can't see you. That means you're too close. So how close is too close? If you can't see the driver in his mirror, you're too close. That's the rule of thumb. Play safe out there, okay? Don't want to hear about anybody getting hurt or loss of life. It's not worth it, folks. I've driven a lot of miles and 90 minutes one way to get to work for many years, and I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of stuff go on, and what's going on out there right now is so unsafe. I cringe. I really do. I just absolutely cringe. So play safe, be safe, arrive alive is the saying. Happy, healthy motoring, peace, patience, and kindness always. Thank you to our certified financial planners, Tony Miele, Larry Tetro, 50 years experience as fiduciaries. They're my personal financial planners for the last 20 years, and I can tell you this, your life will change when you sit down with either Tony or Larry and have that discovery meeting we call the hour and the coffee. Leave your wallet, leave your purse at home, ladies. No one's selling you anything. They want to listen to what your needs are. They're going to listen to where you are and where you want to be and formulate a game plan to get you there if you're interested. They'll do that for you. They don't need any more clients. They've been at it a long time, but they want to help you because they want to be a part of Car Connection. So check in with my brothers from other mothers, certified financial planning professionals, Tony Miele, Larry Tetro. Let them know you heard all about them right here in the Car Connection Workshop on our podcast. And we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. sharp for Fun Friday. Bye for now.